tomato. I like tomato.
Beautiful day outside, but I am not in Houston where I live. I'm actually in Argentina, a little town called Mendoza. And to get here, I had to fly through Santiago, Chile. And we were at the airport in Santiago, Chile, and I saw some hairstyles that are radically different than anything I'd ever seen before. I'm thinking maybe that could be me. This could be a different side of me, marked with edge. I don't know, it's weird. A lot of different people will have different styles and different looks that they do for different purposes. I know sometimes when I'm in court, I'm very cleanly shaven. I've got my hair done just right. I'm generally wearing a white shirt with a tie that's fairly subtle, dark suit. That's court attire. When I go to a basketball game, I'm wearing whatever I'm in the mood to wear that's going to allow me to jump up and down and yell at the referees. I wear different clothing for different events. It's all still me. Different hair, different events maybe. And it brings up a subject that I get asked a lot by people. People say to me, what is the Bible translation that we should be using? And the easy and obvious answer is whichever one you're reading. But for different people, it means different things. There are some people who like the exalted Bible language that you will find in the King James. That's the tuxedo, if you will, of Bible translations. And then there are people who like everyday, give me some jeans and comfortable shoes with a nice, comfortable shirt that I can wear every day. In other words, give me the Bible translation in good, common, everyday language. And for these people, they may be looking for something like the New International Version or the English Standard Version, something that's in everyday familiar English. Some people are just like, hey, I want shorts, and I want cutoffs, I want sandals, flip-flops, or Jesus sandals, I guess. Give me something that's really going to have some edge to it. And for them, they may want to read the Bible in the Message or one of these other translations. What do we do with this? What kind of material should we be looking for? Most people who are devoted Bible readers say, I want to study the Bible in its as close as I can to the original, so give me a literal translation. The problem is, all translations have variations on what it means to be literal. Because we're trying to take, for example, with Hebrew, you've got 8,000 vocabulary words in the Hebrew Old Testament. 8,000. It may sound like a lot, but the average English speaker has a vocabulary of about 50,000 words. 20,000 that we use constantly, 30,000 that we keep into reserve and just pull out periodically when it seems exquisitely timed for that portion of our vernacular. I think I just used 3 of them out of the reserve part. So if we only have 8,000 Hebrew words and they do service for 50,000 English words, you know by definition the translators are making some choices. They're choosing to translate a word one way when they could have translated it another. So you're looking for how to translate these words in a way that will communicate them. And that's why a lot of scholars will use multiple Bible translations in addition to the original text themselves. So one of the things that I like to try and do is try to figure out what makes one translation more user-friendly than another. I've got 2 really good friends who both serve on the translation boards for 2 of the most prominent, everyday, considered literal type translations of the Bible, Peter Williams and Simon Gathercole. I recently caught up with them in Cambridge University, where they're both stationed, and I got to ask them about their translations. It was interesting. Before I did so, I said, we were all at lunch together, and before I did so, I said, now, Peter, I want you to tell us why the ESV is better than the NIV, and Simon, vice versa. And they both said, wait. And I think it was Peter who told me that in his actual contract, it's that he won't say anything negative about other Bible translations. And I thought, these Brits. But I think it was an American contract. I'm not sure. Regardless, neither one of them want to say anything negative because they both recognize both translations are really, really good. So instead, we stepped outside the restaurant and I tried to get them to say something positive about their own. Let me let you in on a little of the dialogue. I've come to Tyndall House, where we're going to get a chance to visit with some really good Bible translators. This is interesting.
All right, you are on the board of the NIV. Why the NIV?
Well, the NIV is partly because the NIV is the Bible I've used ever since I've been a Christian, and I think, not just because of tradition, but what the NIV really aims to do is to capture the real Bible in real English. So it seeks to present the Bible in modern English.
And you are English.
Mm-hmm.
We can tell from the accent. You're not from Lubbock, Texas, are you?
No, I'm not. No.
No, you grew up outside London?
Yeah.
Okay, and so when you translated into modern English, how many people work together to bring that together?
There are about 14 of us. And in fact, we also have subcommittees. So on the main committee, there's a couple of Indians, an Australian, a couple of English people, as well as Americans. And so we partly seek to have the Bible in English, in an English that anyone can understand who's a native English speaker. But we also have an Indian subcommittee and an English subcommittee for the publication of the NIV in those particular countries.
Okay, I'm not allowed to ask you to compare. It's not fair to ask you to compare the NIV to the ESV, but I am going to talk to Peter Williams about the ESV. Let me just ask it this way. Do you still use the NIV?
I do still use the NIV, and it's the NIV we use. It's the NIV that we use in church.
All right. Thank you for your work translating the Bible, making it available to us who speak English.
Peter, I've just had a chance to talk to Simon Gathercole about the NIV. He's a big proponent. What's another version we could be reading in English?
Well, I'm involved with the English Standard Version, the ESV, and I'm very excited about that because I like literal translations, because literal Bible translations empower ordinary Bible readers to really dig in and see word-for-word correspondences.
Okay, I know you're never going to disparage any good Bible translation because we want everybody to read the Bible, but I got to ask you, from my perspective, I have a choice between the two. Why should I be reading the ESV? What will it give me that I might not get somewhere else?
Well, you want to go as deep as you can, and what a literal translation does is it offers you verbal connections. Often the way the Bible's written, whether Old or New Testament, there are theme words that run right the way through. Say an idea like seed, that is a theme that you'll find in Genesis 1 and 3 and 12 and really important passages, and you can trace many of those things right the way through. I think it also gives you a feel for the language. It just enhances your experience. It can be harder to start, but then really rewarding as you follow on.
Fantastic. So what's the latest version you read in the Bible?
I like to read in the Greek and Hebrew, but obviously delighted at ways to read English translations as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Peter Williams, one of the reasons we have the ESV. Pretty interesting guys, those Brits. All right, here's the deal. Doesn't matter how you wear your hair, you're still you. I'm me. I'm just me in Argentina looking for a new do. So get into the Word, read the Bible. Let that become you. God bless you. Good Wednesday week. For example, there is a Greek word anthropos. We get anthropology, the study of humans, from it. Anthropos means man, but it also means mankind. It also means person. There may be a time where anthropos is being used to talk about a man, but there may also be a time where it's just being used to talk about people. And to translate it man instead of people is to use an older gender concept of letting the men stand for everybody, but that's certainly not politically correct today.